This is wild. NHL insider Pierre Lebrun has dropped multiple major Calgary Flames trade reports, most notably linking Blake Coleman to the Montreal Canadiens. He also briefly mentions an update on Nazem Kadri, and the Flames trade rumors are seriously heating up as we get closer to the trade deadline. We're going to get into all that more in this video, but first I want to welcome the Two Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, and YouTube's telling me that over 60% of the people watching are not subscribed. So if you could do me that favor, hit that subscribe button. I would sincerely appreciate it. We honestly are very welcoming here in the Flames Digest family. So come on, feel free to join us. Now, let's get into last night's game to start us off here. And once again, I don't really know if you can call it much of a game. It was the second of a back-to-back on the road. The Flames got blown up 4-1, this time by the Boston Bruins. We just got smoked the day before against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal, of course. And look, the Flames, once again, looked really bad. I don't know why Stromgren didn't get to go again, after getting benched against Montreal. Maybe there's something we really just don't know, or Huska has some sort of personal vendetta against Willie there. But either way, it was interesting that Stromgren didn't get to go in, which is kind of too bad. I know a lot of people, it would have been a bright spot anyway to get to see him going. But if we get into the box score here, Dustin Wolf put up a stat line that's becoming quite familiar over the past 4 or 5 games now. So, he gave up 4 goals on 30 shots. The .867 save percentage, not fantastic at all. Not what you want to see. Zary got the lone goal, and at least it was a nice one. Lots of energy from him. Frosty and Baller getting the 2 assists on the night as well. But the offense has dried up. Honestly, the defense has dried up a little bit as the Flames have been giving up quite a lot of goals lately. Everyone on Team Tank, which is the majority of the fan base at this point, is quite thrilled with just how bad the Flames have been in their past 4 games now. All regulation losses. It would just be nice if Winnipeg and Vancouver could start winning. Winnipeg hasn't won since, I don't even know, it feels like 2024 was the last time they won a game. Remember they had the MVP last year? How the heck was that even possible? And Vancouver, they're just such a mess. But either way, Calgary playing a lot like how a lot of people thought they were when it was October and everyone had faith that they would, land a top pick. But so far, it's looking like they're destined for a top 3. There's some other really bad teams in the league, though, at this point. One thing to take note of is a lot of people were wondering why wasn't Zane Parekh. Well, little bit of an injury update here for you. He is out day-to-day with an upper body injury. Ryan Huska spoke out and said that he did get quite beat up at the World Juniors, which we saw if you watched the tournament. He took a lot of penalties, or drew a lot of penalties, but took a lot of hits in a big way. So that's why there was no Zane. Maybe we'll see him relatively soon. I think if you get to a certain number of games, you can do a conditioning stint in the AHL. I don't know if that's factual, but I think that would be ideal scenario for Mr. Parekh there. Another thing to take note of, which isn't exactly ideal. Actually, one thing I will say first is a lot of people were wondering, why is Wolf playing again? Second of a back-to-back on the road. Apparently, Cooley was under the weather, and that's why he didn't go in between the pipes last night. But this is some not-so-great news, and it goes super well with what we're about to talk about. So as if things weren't going poorly enough for the Flames as of late, Blake Coleman is not on the bench after leaving for the dressing room for the second time. Coleman went off injured twice in the game last night against the Bruins, and that's not ideal for someone that you might end up trading away. So, without further ado, let's get into the latest trade rumors as, yes, Mr. Lebrun from TSN, from The Athletic, wherever else he works for, he's kind of the one talking here. So, quick way to just kind of summarize it, a little report here. So, Canadiens interested in Flames' Coleman, written by Kyle Cushman. So, he writes, Calgary Flames forward Blake Coleman is high on the list of players the Montreal Canadiens are interested in acquiring. TSN's Pierre Lebrun reported on Thursday's early trading. Early trading, obviously, early before the deadline is actually here. So, Coleman leads the Flames with 13 goals on the campaign, and he has 21 points in 43 games, so about a point every other game. He signed through next season at a $4.9 million cap hit, and he has a 10-team approved trade list. Do those matter? Apparently, you can always just go and ask the player, like what we did with Markstrom and made a huge mistake. Now, the 34-year-old is the player the Flames get the most calls about, but there's no guarantee they'll trade him this season, Lebrun added. So, there may be a lot of interest in him. Saravalli has reported that over 20 teams have contacted the Flames about Pickles here. But LeBrun's saying, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. Even if there's interest, it might not be this season, even if the Habs are up there. Now, Coleman won back-to-back Stanley Cups with the Lightning in 2020 and 2021. They're only 2 cups, by the way. He notched a career-high 30 goals and 54 points in 78 games 2 seasons ago. The Texas native has accumulated 163 goals and 311 points in 667 career contests with the Devils, Lightning, and Flames. Coleman has added 12 goals and 31 points in 65 playoff games over 4 trips to the playoffs. Montreal acquired center Philip Danault from the Kings in December for a second-round pick. The trade deadline is March 6th, so less than a couple months away. And look, the Habs have already tried to make some splashes getting Danault. Is Coleman worth as much as Danault? I would hope so. I could argue that he might be worth even more, but either way, definitely some interest there from Montreal. Let's get into that a little bit more. So here is the tweet that Lebrun put out after talking about it on Insider Trading. And the first 2 bullet points here are what we care about. So he actually says, Kadri is happy in Calgary, but would consider change, which is interesting. Kadri all along has said he is okay staying in Calgary, being with the Flames, but maybe now he'd consider some change. Maybe he'd go after a cup. I don't think for him it's all about money and weather like it has been for some other players. But still happy here. The Kadri rumors have died down a little bit, so I guess this goes hand in hand with that. Second point, as we say, so Coleman a potential trade fit for the Habs. And Lebrun covers the Habs a little bit more than, you know, the everyday regular insider like a Friedman. Friedman does every single team. Lebrun does every team as well, but more so I think focuses on the Habs than anyone else. Now, Marco D'Amico, he tweeted out that sources indicate the go Habs go. I read it like how I see it. Call me Ron Burgundy. Sources indicate the Habs are looking to add the rare combination of sandpaper and scoring to their middle six. Names like Kiefer Sherwood and Blake Coleman have come up, but there could be more as the Habs have the luxury to wait out the market. And I think the Habs would love to add people like Sherwood and Coleman. And believe it or not, Nazem Kadri has also, I think, been linked to Montreal the second most out of any team. All of the Flames players that have been in the trade rumors get linked to Dallas the most. That is far the most, the Dallas Stars. But Montreal has been probably the second most for Kadri. Coleman now, hey, he's being linked quite heavily now by a few different names. Even Habs Digest, let me just plug other channels from the network here. Habs Digest, one of the most popular in the Digest Media Network. They even tweeted out, so Flames winger Blake Coleman has been linked to the Habs in trade talks. Solid defensive metrics this year, plays the penalty kill, and is on pace for 24 goals and 39 points. But at $4.9 million this year and next, I wonder where he fits with a crowded roster. Puts in some advanced stats there showing that he is really good defensively and has been okay offensively this year too overall. But yeah, I think it could work in a trade, but the Habs would probably have to get rid of another roster player, which might not exactly be what the Flames want to do. And I think, honestly, Habs fans might want to acquire other players over Coleman, but that's just me. Last thing here, so once again, Pierre Lebrun talking about the Habs. He said, it is my understanding that Blake Coleman is high on their list. Now, there's other players on their trade list, but Coleman is a player of interest. So that kind of, to me, means yeah, the Habs have interest in Coleman, but he's not the number one priority when it comes to the trade market. So yes, Coleman has been linked to the beautiful La Belle Province de Quebec, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's totally imminent or he's their number one target or that Montreal's the top destination for Coleman as well. I think the Flames could get more elsewhere, but again, that's just me. Let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video, as we love to do here on the channel. Whoa, don't know what's going on there with the graphics. Here we go, Flames first. Yesterday's video talked about a lot of the prospects going over Zane here. Flames first says, I think people got to chill out about Zane. Not every star is meant to figure it out immediately, unfortunately. Just take a look at Connor Bedard as an example. Zane will be a star in the NHL. I firmly believe it. For now, you let the pieces fall into place because whenever it happens, there's going to be a breakthrough game. And we're hoping for that breakthrough game at some point and then a breakthrough career. We want him to go down as the best defenseman in franchise history, which, I don't know, to pass a guy like Al MacInnis and even Mark Giordano for that. And then Dion Phaneuf. Can't forget about double Dion, but either way. A lot of people worrying that Zane might not be all that good defensively, takes too many hits. There's reason to have concern, but hey, he's still young. He's going to figure it out. We just got to stay optimistic. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.